fear in cryptocurrency is running rife right now, with everybody trying to call the next exchange or kind of investment company to go bust through either lending or bad practices. Now, in the latest kind of debacle on Twitter, Kucoin is being called out as potentially becoming insolvent. Now, you've always got to do your own research and really understand exactly what is being offered before we jump to wild, crazy accusations of things going down. What the crypto market does not need right now is a wild load of nonsense that maybe isn't true. Now, I talked about this in my live stream, that the people are talking about Kucoin potentially being insolvent because of some insane APRs that they are offering. Well, we're going to dive into that in this video, and I'm going to try and break it down a little bit so that you have a sense of understanding about this. But ultimately, it's always best to get your money off those exchanges. Now, let's get into a little bit about this. Kucoin does have their assets available on CoinMarketCap. The new thing that I know was spearheaded by Binance, and it does allow us to look at exactly what this exchange is holding. Now, what we want to see is this evolving a bit more in terms of actually audited by an audit company and showing users funds are locked or backed one for one so that we can see it. Now, we can currently see $2.5 billion is where Kucoin sits as backed assets. Now, interesting, when you look at the overall exchanges, they are ranked the 5th highest exchange out there across many others, and their volume currently sits at $444 million across the last 24 hours. Now, when we get into a couple of their assets, you can see they are massively backed by USDT, which ultimately says it is backed to the dollar and does have those reserves. For every one single USDT, it is backed by $1. So you'd argue that that's a pretty sensible play, given we've seen some crazy exchanges with wild community tokens as one of their big holders. Now, KCS is their native coin. Now, you do need to be mindful of this, as it currently sits nearly $500 million. So their actual backed assets, bearing in mind if the exchange does go insolvent, then the KCS token will be worth nothing. So albeit currently say trading at $6.59, you almost have to write that out, because if the exchange, like I said, goes down, then this kind of goes down at the same time. And that's ultimately what we saw with things like FTX, where their native token is basically worthless. Now, before we go any further in this video, if you do find this sort of information worthwhile, then please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Keep up to date with everything going on in cryptocurrency. We try and bring you the latest and greatest. Also, subscribe if you aren't already. Leave a thumbs up on this video, and let's kind of get back into this one. So we did get this. Crypto Twitter freaks out over Kucoin's 300% BTC yield. Exchange explains how it is generated. Now, obviously, with all these exchanges, I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of exactly how this is generated, but there is a point to make here, that we need to understand exactly what is being offered and put out there, and ultimately what does it mean, versus wildly throwing accusations out that, the next big exchange is going to go insolvent. So it says, fear in the crypto industry is running wild these days. On Tuesday, users on Twitter were shocked when they saw Kucoin, a centralized crypto exchange, is offering almost 300% APR on Bitcoin, 200% APR on Ethereum, and 100% APR on Tether. Alex Valatis and other users shared a screenshot of Kucoin's investment products and their massive project APRs, questioning how such big yields can be achieved in a bear market for all that matter. Now, there's two things that are important here. Yes, it's a bear market. The important question is, how are they generating those APIs? Where is that funding coming from? If it's coming from venture capitalists, investment banks, whatever it is, if it's just people pumping money into this, well, that is not a sustainable model. But if it's coming from another avenue, if it's coming from revenue generating sources, well, potentially that might actually be worthwhile. It kind of goes on to continue to talk about that people are not convinced about this, and we saw this massively blow up on Twitter as people are nervous, and rightly so. We've seen Genesis potentially going to go down, Voyager, FTX, 3 Hours Capital, all collapsing by risky asset players, and ultimately, in the case of FTX, spending people's money, which is absolutely insane. The latest one being BlockFi. As we know, ultimately they were supporting and being lent out to other exchanges. Now, what are these APIs all about? Well, if you come over to the Kucoin website, you can see that on Kucoin Earn, as an example, you can see some of these bigger APIs. So you can see here, we're offering 40% over on that one. Here's the thing that they don't show you, that ETH 5.73% APR up to 125.3, which is where people are kind of going, that's absolutely crazy. As we come down here, you can see that APR on a fixed dual investment plan is potentially 115% APR, a dual investment. Well, you might be saying, well, 2-bit, what's a dual investment? Well, I've got you covered here. Dual investment is a non-principal protected product whose main risk comes from possible changes in market price. When there is a high volatility in the market, it may be difficult for users to predict potential differences between target price and market price at the time of maturity. Therefore, it may also be difficult to predict when a settlement currency will be. Therefore, being subscribing, make sure you understand the characteristics of the product as well as potential risks. And it gives us an example. It says, for example, invest in 1 Bitcoin to subscribe to a Kucoin dual investment program with a target price of $20,000, an APR of 300%, and a term of 14 days. When the product expires, user A will receive the following. The settlement price of BTC is 20k. The payment will be settled in USDT, and the payment amount is 1 times, which is 1 Bitcoin, 300% times 14 divided by 365, which ultimately gains you a yield of 2,301. The price of BTC USDT rises to 23,000, then obviously they would get a bit more. But it says BTC of user A is 23k if user A did not buy the double investment product at the time. The user A currently only has 22,301 USDT. The difference between the two is implied loss, which is $699. So it's important to reference that actually this isn't just some crazy yield out of nowhere. This is ultimately based upon what you say it's going to get to and being very clear about what that gets there. So there's always a bit more to every story that we need to be mindful of. Now, do I think it's a good idea to go out there and advertise the fact you've got massive APIs when the market is, you know, completely bearish right now? And ultimately we've had huge funds exit the market as collapsing of FTX, as well as BlockFi and a number of others. Probably not. Probably doesn't make the best sense. Whereas you could offer a 2% flexible savings on Ethereum as an example. Is this, like I said, a grab to get your money onto the exchange? Quite possibly, albeit we need to be sensible and understand exactly what it is they're offering, because they are not offering you to just put a Bitcoin in and take 115% APR. That is not what is being offered right now. They are dual investment advanced trading plans that you have on Kucoin. The best you will get right now on your Ethereum, if you were to just deposit and earn, is 2%. It's not 115. So let's just be mindful, because people right now are nervous about cryptocurrency. The market is scared and we need some level of stability. But always get your money off exchanges, hold it in a hardware wallet or get it off there. It's always better safe than sorry. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? Do you think Kucoin could be the next one? Or do you think it's all a bit of smoke and mirrors from people trying to drum up a bit of hype and a bit of scaremongering? However, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate all the support. Don't forget to like and comment, and I'll try and reply to as many as I can. Subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.